for today. This is the wrap-up for Monday, November 16th. For the live morning show, markets are still watching the news. Terrible news from Friday, from Paris on Friday. Terror attacks on the French capital, 129 killed. As we know so far, it has implications for strikes in Syria, refugee policies, lots of things. We had a reaction in markets. We had risk aversion impacting the safe haven yen first and foremost. We had this Japanese yen strengthening. We had it fall to dollar yen fall to 122.22. Since then, we're moving back to range. This was a knee-jerk reaction. Money flows to the safe haven funding currencies. But then when things stabilize, it has a smaller impact. For the euro, we also had some kind of weaker euro at the beginning, but the gap was easily closed. We're very much in range. Range is for the euro now 107.05 to 107.90, the narrow range. Wider range 108.30, which is very strong resistance. Separator of ranges, and on the top side, and the bottom side 106.60, which was support back in March. Okay, we have the big focus of the day is on the eurozone, and at least this morning, because we have final inflation figures from the eurozone at 10 GMT. Let's see if core inflation falls below 1% initially reported. That's because we had a hint from Draghi on core inflation back on Thursday. He was worried that oil prices could reach core inflation. The same Draghi, president of the ECB, speaks 15 minutes later in Madrid. He speaks in front of entrepreneurs. As Fabienne mentioned, he might encourage investment. He might, but also ask governments to help in that thing. And he might offer his support when we have the ECB supporting stock markets and investment. We have also weaker euro. Okay, more today we have manufacturing sales in Canada for those who are trading the Canadian dollar. The Canadian dollar weakened because of oil prices. So currently sort of hugging 133, support 132.40 and 132. 131. Only 131.60 and 132.40. Resistance 134.60, the 11-year high. Pound dollar hugging 152, resistance 152.50, and support 151.50. Talked about the yen. Resistance is at 123.60, support 122. Aussie dollar just above 71.10, not such a strong line anymore. 70.65 is support, 72 is resistance. Kiwi dollar very, very much in range. We had retail sales from New Zealand. They were quite mixed. They didn't have a real impact. 65 is support, 65.70 is resistance. Okay, let's talk about more events and coming up. In the United States, U.S. Empire State Manufacturing Index, that's a figure from November, so it's very fresh on one hand. On the other hand, it's not that important. And we have bigger events later this week. So let's see if it moves markets just a bit. Let's move back to events we had in the past on Friday, which were more important. We had retail sales miss in the United States, but the control group was okay. And also another silver lining came from consumer sentiment, which came out better than expected and sort of raised expectations for better retail sales in November, shopping season, Black Friday. Japan entered a recession. It was not unexpected. The economy squeezed by 0.2%. And in real terms, in nominal terms, it didn't squeeze at all. So it's not that bad. In addition, Q2 was revised to the upside. So we had 2 consecutive quarters of recession. We're not expecting action from the Bank of Japan. They had their chance to act, and they didn't act, and things need to get a bit worse before they can act, because we had these sort of silver linings. Watch the price of oil, still low, and Eurozone GDP. It missed on Friday. Draghi might talk about that. It wasn't terrible, but it came out 0.3 instead of 0.4. So that's